Meanwhile, it's time to talk a little bit about taxes once again. Calhoun County Treasurer Christine Schauer joins us, and we're going to talk a little bit about property taxes and the deadline therein. Good morning, Christine.
Good morning, Richard.
Thank you for the time today.
Well, thank you for having me on.
So that's how these things work. You set a deadline, and we'd like to try and adhere to that, wouldn't we?
Yeah. As Calhoun County Treasurer, though, keeping families in their homes has been one of my top priorities. And so we're appealing to people now who may be struggling to pay their delinquent property taxes and are in danger of a foreclosure. So we want to get the word out that we do have ways to help them, but it all has to start with a phone call to us ASAP.
Okay.
Yeah,
I can see how somebody in that situation might just be paralyzed into inaction, and that's probably the worst thing that could happen, right?
Correct. They possibly, we give a lot of notices. They get a lot of mail, and sometimes tend to just set it aside and wait till the very last second or even till it's too late. I can do things for them prior to the foreclosure, but never after.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that in a second. How does this get to this point? As you say, mail comes and there are advisories, but what is the typical course here?
Well, your local city or township levies taxes every year. You get a summer and winter bill.
Right.
If you don't pay them at the city, then the city or township has to send them over to the county treasurer as delinquent for collection. So we just received the 2015 delinquent taxes from all of those jurisdictions. But what we're talking about are taxes that came over 2-3 years ago that put people in danger. We, after they've been out there the first year with the local jurisdiction, they come to us. We try for another year, and then the final year is really the third year. If you don't pay them, you lose your property.
Well, just thinking about this for a second, that's a long time, really, isn't it? And every year they're adding up.
Right, and statutorily, I have to impose fees and a really steep interest rate on taxes. I have been, along with all county treasurers in the state, given a window of time which expires this year in June to work with taxpayers, set up payment plans, and reduce that interest rate. But that can only happen if they contact my office and get an appointment. And we're coming up on March 15th, which is our office deadline to apply. The actual payment date that 2013 taxes would need to be paid if we don't hold them off with a payment plan is March 31st.
Okay, those are some pretty hard deadlines here coming up fast. And we'll talk about, too, what the options are if you are in that kind of a situation when we come back in just a moment on WBCK 814 WBCK. Calhoun County Treasurer Christine Schauer is with us. We're talking about delinquent property taxes. We'll repeat those deadlines here in a second, and we'll talk a bit about, if you are behind, how the Treasurer's office can help. Now, some people might be listening to this saying, did I pay that bill? Some folks do have their taxes paid by their mortgage company through the escrow account. So we should say that some folks don't have to trudge down and hand you a check, but they do have to make sure it's paid.
Exactly. And if you're getting notices from my office, there could have been an error with your mortgage company or something. So I would not ignore those notices. Call my office. The number's 269-781-0807, just to verify. If you have any inkling that maybe something's up, better safe than sorry.
Right. Yeah, those are probably less likely situations, a disconnect there between a mortgage company and you, but probably can happen. So
it can, and we have heard that story.
Yeah.
And
Meanwhile, though, I imagine the folks with whom you deal in this delinquent sort of category are not in that situation. These are folks who would normally have paid and for some reason have not been able to.
Exactly. We have all kinds of people. We have already done about 52 hardship extensions. We have about 25 more in process right now. Most of those 52 are doing payment plans, but they're from all kinds of people. But if I had to characterize, it's either people who own their homes outright,
Yep.
or they're buying on land contracts. That's another thing. If you're buying on land contract and you say, well, my landlord, for lack of a better term, the person who actually owns this house is supposed to pay them.
Right.
If you're getting these notices, that still may mean that that person has not paid. And we have also seen that probably quite frequently. And so the biggest thing is to pay attention. If you have any doubts about any of it, call my office. You can also go online, and there's property search, tax search availability there. We're at calhouncountymi.gov/treasurer, and then there's some links to go ahead and either do a search on your property, see if there's taxes owing. There's also a link to pay your taxes online.
How about it?
Yeah. And we're really happy to say that we have been able to negotiate some lower fees for using your credit card online to pay taxes, and or your debit card. With a Visa debit card, it's just one flat fee. Otherwise, it's a percentage. But we've been able to reduce that from when I first started. It was 3.5%. It's down to 2.5% now, making it a little less painful to use your credit card and pay online, and a whole lot more convenient.
Well, if somebody's working during the day, it might be easier for them to just do the online payment than try and carve out some time to run down to you.
And also, we get a lot of payments through the mail. Folks can send checks through the mail. We also have a payment window. Our main office is in Marshall.
Yeah.
We have a payment window in the Justice Center in Battle Creek. It's only open on Mondays and Fridays, but we are trying to make it more convenient for folks.
You talked about the majority of folks in this position are they own their own home outright, or they're on a land contract. These are situations, and you can imagine if you have been in a mortgage situation, you almost don't have to think about it. I mean, the mortgage company takes the money out of your payment, sets it in the escrow account, and then when the tax bill comes, they just pay it for you, and it's a nice little feature of having a mortgage. But if you own the home outright and you've been accustomed to the other side, now you have to make sure you're doing that, setting the money aside, so when the tax bill comes, you're able to pay it. That ends up being difficult. I mean, a lot of us, me included sometimes, the money lands in your pocket and you find something else to use it for. Yeah.
And we have to remember, too, that a lot of these folks are fairly low income, and they may have bought a home outright for a low amount, and maybe unsophisticated, and even bought a home that had back taxes. It happens.
Yeah, that's interesting. So a home can transfer ownership even with a tax lien on it?
When you're not using a title company to close a sale or an attorney, there are a lot of just personal transactions on quitclaim deeds.
Yes.
And everything comes with the property as far as property taxes.
Yeah, a quitclaim deed is pretty easy to find, and you just sign it over and it's done.
Exactly.
And then that person can come and file that with your office, and they own it.
Well, they file that with the Register of Deeds, and they don't even have to do that. We encourage everyone to do that. But it's a legal document, even if it's not registered.
All right. Calhoun County Treasurer Christine Schauer is here. We're talking about property taxes. We'll repeat those deadlines coming up in just a minute. Point is, if you're behind, she wants to know about it so that she can help you correct that situation. We'll talk more about that in just a second. 8:20. WBCK. Calhoun County Treasurer Christine Schauer is here. We're talking about property tax deadlines. If you're behind, you need to make contact with the Treasurer's office by March 15th, right? Is that right?
Yes. We need a little time to get people in and talk to them and have them submit application for our biggest tool, which is a hardship extension of time to pay taxes. When they come in for their appointment, depending on their situation, we're able to link them up with other kinds of services or programs that can help them get into a better financial situation. Also connecting them with some tax exemptions that they might be eligible for going forward. A biggie that's fairly new in this state is the disabled veterans exemption. For 100% disabled veterans. They are able to get their property taxes wiped out. They won't have to pay them. That starts with the VA, with the Calhoun County Veterans Administration, who must certify that the veteran is 100% disabled. Also, widows of 100% or widowers are of 100% disabled veterans could be eligible for this exemption as well. It doesn't help with taxes that are already delinquent but could help going forward, which of course then frees them up possibly to pay off their back taxes. There's also a poverty exemption that's available from local units of government, and that's kind of a graduated. Folks can file for that. They're only eligible for like 3 years throughout the life of the living in that property. But those are some things. But we also connect with a lot of local services. DHS has limited help to pay taxes for folks. We try to get them utility assistance, debt management or financial classes on how to better manage.
Yeah, because we presume there's more than one factor here. There's some things going on that have caused them not to pay this responsibility. So you've got to figure out what that is.
There always are. And, we have seniors in this position. We have disabled people, not necessarily veterans, but disabled, getting very limited SSI income. We also, of course, have families with children living in the home. And there are always multiple factors: health issues, loss of job, divorces, deaths. Those are the kinds of things that can really get someone severely behind.
Insofar as you know, what has been the trend here? Have you seen more of these cases of delinquent property taxes or less? Are we on par with other counties our size? So what observations have you made on this?
Well, each year we put taxes, what's called, into forfeiture, which is kind of that year before we foreclose. We're pretty consistent year after year with about 2,500 properties in the county going into forfeiture or having 2-year-old taxes. Last year we ultimately foreclosed on only 245 of those. That has been trending down since a high in 2009. And we have been doing tremendous outreach to these owner-occupied properties to, urge them to get in and apply for assistance so we can help them stay in their homes. We just, again, urge anyone who has those 2013 taxes still owing to contact us at 269-781-0807, or they can email us at treasurerstaff@calhouncountymi.gov, and we can get a process going to help them.
All right, so we look for those little rays of sunshine there, and that was one of them. That the foreclosures are trending down a little bit at least. So when somebody articulates their problem to you, you help lump these years, multiple years together. You're developing a payment structure, I presume.
Exactly. This reduced interest payment plan, the regular interest, once you get to 2-year-old taxes, is 18%.
Wow.
So this allows me to reduce their interest to 6%. But there are some strings attached. We would take and roll together all delinquent tax years, and it's mostly 3 years. We'd have the 13s, 14s, and 15s right now. Come up with one monthly payment amount. But the other string is they cannot miss a payment, and they cannot let any more taxes come over delinquent during the length of their payment plan. The statute actually would require me to go back up to 18% and put them right back into the foreclosure cycle. What happens a lot is people scrape it out and they'll pay these 13s, but then they're right up against it again next year. So we have had a number of people in that position, and we're being very aggressive with them this year and saying you must get on one of these multi-year payment plans and take care of this once and for all. It's not a case of it's a case of priorities in some cases. And so we are holding them to hold up their end of the deal. And if they don't, then of course they're right back in it.
Right. All right. So if you're in that spot right now, the worst thing you can do is nothing. So make that call to the Treasurer's office in Calhoun County, and let's say that number one more time.
Our phone number is 269-781-0807, or you can email at treasurerstaff@calhouncountymi.gov. We're also have a website, which is calhouncountymi.gov/treasurer, and I'm on Facebook as well at Facebook Christine Schauer or Calhoun, and Twitter as well.
Okay.
So there are multiple ways to get in touch with us, and we're urging you to do that by March 15th so that we can help you by March 31st, because that's the magic date that if those 2013 taxes are not paid, I must foreclose on April 1.
Okay. So make the call and get that assistance. And keep us posted, Christine, if there's other ways, other messages we can help you distribute.
Yeah, we're here to serve Calhoun County residents, and so, we just want to work with them to help them stay in their homes.
All right. Calhoun County Treasurer Christine Schauer, thank you.
Thank you.
8:30.